Victoria's like, are you ready? I go, not really. All right, look, we got Bleu way over there. Bleu! So remember, you guys, what we're looking for with this behavior is two components. There's two subtasks to this behavior. First is to turn, and the second is to accelerate in your direction. So obviously we're actually kind of installing it all at the same time, but you want a very specific, sharp turn. Some of them are going to have a more abrupt turn than others, but you've got to have that in your mind that that's what you're installing. Truffles! See what happened right there? You guys know that's my new favorite thing is the slow-mo recoil, because you can see exactly what's happening. All right, come on, you guys. All through. Once they feel the pager, there's no more forward motion. Truffles is textbook. You don't get any better than her. Bleu too. And accelerating back in your direction. That's why you've got to use the food. People that say, I don't want to use food, I'll tell you what the deal with that is. They don't know what they're doing. People like Godfrey, all these other Schutzen trainers, they all use food. These pet trainers that don't believe in using food don't know more than them. All right, I'm going to get Bleu, and you're going to see. Bleu! Good boy. Bleu has been collar conditioned since he was a little bitty boy. All through, but you can see he's got a very specific turn. You're choreographing that turn with the pager, not the low-level stimulus. That's the stupidest method. You guys honestly think that if they had invented the pager first, that it would have evolved into a low-level stimulus method? Even Victoria's shaking her head. It's insanity. All through. Very careful letting these dogs get behind you. Sheba! Good girl. Step back. Good girl. Good girl. You know, and this method really, you guys, I mean, the low-level stimulus method, prior to the pager coming out, Jim and Phyllis are the ones that developed that. We could bend them with the stimulus and stuff. You know, but they figured out, and again, this was back in the late 90s, you know, that you did not need that. So that's why it's beyond me that these people now can't figure that out. But you can bend them and do all those things. The same thing with the pager. Andy! So what happened right there? Good. He really didn't have an abrupt turn, but he kind of just rode the pager around that curve. All through. Try to get a couple slow-mos of Truffles, because she is textbook. And these dogs were, Truffles and Bleu were conditioned very, very young. They've got to be able to get out and run around like this, you guys. If you're doing it in a group, that's the best, because if we just stood out here, stood out here with one dog, they're not going to be motivated to run off. And I'm kind of holding them within a little invisible force. So I'm not letting them go too far away. With Sheba, when she starts to go after Andy. Andy! Good boy. Good boy. So I did get a nice abrupt turn that time. Good, he was chasing the butterfly. All through. She starts to chase him. I'll feel her off of there. Sheba, even that short distance, you saw the dog started running. And that's what you want, you guys. That's what you've got to think in those terms. Not that I'm just going to make it come or whatever, that I'm breaking it down into those two stages. I'm making it turn and accelerate towards me. Bending it with that pager. If you guys go back and go look on dobbsdogs.com, that's how we used to do it. You could bend them with the stimulus, but there's no reason to do that anymore. Yes, with field trail dogs and all that, I can see it, but for companion dogs, honestly, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Sheba! Now, didn't I just say don't turn your back on? See what happened? I did it. Slammed into me. Truffles is getting a little sick of that. No! Usually don't say no, Lori, but with Sheba, I've got to. She likes to beat up on. She's using her for her handies. Andy! So I got a nice, I'm really enunciating. Good boy. I'm enunciating it, man. All right, guys, we're going to go so I can try to get a little slow-mo of Truffles.